just don't know what the hell I'm doing anymore, It's like I'm paralyzed. Like, if I take a step in any direction, I'm gonna make a spectacular mistake. God, I could go for a glass of wine about now.
Skyler White is a character who was often persecuted by fans while the Breaking Bad series was on the air. And although Skyler is not an entirely likable character, I believe these resentments stem from a misunderstanding of her psychology and unconscious motivations, in that she would emotionally disconnect in her life when her sense of stability or control was thrown off course. Through a closer analysis of the character, I plan to show how Skyler's cold, distant, and unloving behaviors, primarily towards Walt, was due to her overall loss of stability and predictability as their family plunged deeper into chaos and disorder. With this information in mind, let's get into the analysis. Early in Season 1, we are provided initial behavioral examples of Skyler's need for control and stability. In the pilot episode, she is in bed with Walt and they are attempting to make plans for the weekend. All the while, Skyler is fondling Walt and attempting to get him off. But rather than allow things to progress as they may, she seems to be micromanaging his pleasure by asking,
What is going on down there?
No,
Is he asleep?
it's nothing.
Right off the bat, we get the impression that Skyler is controlling, an A-type personality. She is often wanting things to go a particular way, something which seems to have been working well in her life up to that point. Then in the next episode, after she has come to believe that Walt has been buying pot from Jesse, she goes to find Jesse where he lives. When they meet, she tells him to stay away from Walt and to stop selling him pot, even threatening to involve the police, as Skyler is sensing something off in her husband's behaviors, which in reality is due to his cancer prognosis. She is attempting to rectify the situation by tracking his whereabouts. Skyler is unable to tolerate the changes that are occurring, and so needs to seize control in order to point the needle in a different direction. In Season 2, when Walt has disappeared and Skyler is unsure of his location, a private investigator is at the house and is asking questions about Walt. He is asking Skyler about places that she has looked for Walt, and she responds by saying that
I checked with every hospital within 50 miles, every police station, every morgue. So no, I don't have anything else. I was actually hoping that you had something else, being that you're the expert.
as Skyler is now in a position in which she is completely unsure of what is going on and is in turn losing grip on her life, she is at the same time becoming emotionally distressed and overwhelmed. Due to the intensity of these emotions, she lashes out at the private investigator for asking a standard question. Her lack of sureness is leading to the inability to tolerate and handle increasing emotions. Then, several episodes later, we see the genesis of Skyler's emotional disconnection. At this point, she is not only experiencing turmoil due to Walt's disappearance, but she is also losing control of her relationship, as Walt is not admitting to his second cell phone. Early in the episode, she wakes up without Walt in bed, proceeding to frantically scream his name, imagining another possible disappearance. Although Walt is nearby in the kitchen, it is apparent that Skyler is overreacting to situations that would not have been an issue in the past. Soon after, Walt is making breakfast and asking Skyler if she would like to attend a writing seminar for a weekend. He's trying to make it seem like he wants what is best for her, but in reality, he wants her to leave so that he can go out and cook meth. Skyler slowly catches on to this deception, and as she is also seeing Walt act out of character and become more untrustworthy, she responds by walking out the door and not saying a word, making the choice to shut off emotionally. When she returns home, she continues with this tactic, refusing to disclose where she had been. By the end of the episode, we see Skyler taking up cigarette smoking, despite the fact that she is pregnant. Skyler is slowly losing control over Walt and her life, and so smoking becomes a way to find personal autonomy. It is something she can do that doesn't involve anyone else, despite the fact that it shuts her off from the guilt about possible damage to their unborn child. As Walt continues to become unpredictable in his behavior, and the more Skyler is unable to get Walt to admit to the second cell phone, she finds new ways to distance herself from aspects of her everyday life. Looking for ways to get away from the house and Walt, she decides to take on a job at Benecke's company, despite her late-term pregnancy. Benecke even tells her that she'll have her work cut out for her, which is music to her ears since she needs all the work she can drown herself in. It is more valuable for her to be inundated with responsibilities than to be at home worrying about her unraveling marriage. Not long after, she is going into the office on Saturdays, making sure to dress nicely and to put on full makeup. Suddenly, all of her energy and attention is going into work, as she is distancing herself from Walt. Near the close of Season 2, Skyler finally gets Walt to slip up and unconsciously admit to the second cell phone, causing her to push Walt out of their residence. As she finally gets the confirmation she was looking for, she in turn is provided the opportunity to distance herself from Walt and whatever feelings she may have for him. But not long after, Walt has moved back into the house, bringing chaos and disorder back to the family life that Skyler is trying to sort out. Skyler responds by starting to smoke in the same room as Holly, again placing her need for personal control over the well-being of her child. At the same time, Walt is attempting to get back into Skyler's life through manipulation tactics, showing her the money he has made selling meth and requesting that she accept it. Not only is Skyler losing even more control of things, but she is essentially being forced into a corner by Walt. Not knowing what to do and shut off from her feelings, she runs into Ted at work and proceeds to sleep with him. Through this act, Skyler gains several things. She is able to experience emotion again through secretive sex. She is able to gain more autonomy and feeling of choice in the same way that cigarette smoking helps. And she is also able to distance herself further from the madness of her home life. Later in the episode, Walt is making dinner for the family and attempts to normalize things, and Skyler whispers to him that she slept with Ted. Through this statement, she regains a sense of control and power over Walt, while further disconnecting from the feelings she has had for him and their marriage. By the beginning of Season 4, much has changed for Skyler as she has been able to gain back some power and normalcy in her life and her relationship. Not only has she managed to become part of the car wash company, but she has also been able to manage Walt and his inflated ego, coercing him to involve her in his dealings. But while her life has stabilized, Skyler also begins getting closer to Walt. In one episode, we see Skyler being insistent on talking about the car wash operation. When Walt doesn't answer his phone, she ends up leaving 23 voicemails and coming to his apartment to see what is wrong, quickly becoming entangled in the drama when she sees a bruise on his face. She seems genuinely concerned for his well-being, even wanting to place frozen peas on his face to help with the swelling, a dramatic shift from her coldness during Season 3. We are seeing that as Skyler is feeling that things have become stable in life, she is concurrently growing closer to Walt without even realizing it's happening. Although her original reason for becoming involved in the car wash was to pay Hank's medical bills, the unconscious motivation seems to have been to find ways to establish stability in their marriage once again. Not long after, she becomes romantic and sleeps with Walt, another indication of her rediscovered emotional closeness. And although Skyler had tried to reconcile her marriage and family life, she soon finds that she is unable to control Walt and the chaos that derives from his meth operations. Not only does Skyler lose more control when Ted will not pay his IRS taxes and is eventually hospitalized due to Skyler's attempts to rectify the situation, but she also comes to understand that Walt has killed Gus in the nursing home bombing. The threats are coming from all sides at this point, and nothing is safe for Skyler or her kids. But one of the biggest threats may be from Walt, as he has become more threatening and explosive, traits that Skyler had only seen glimpses of in the past. So when Walt moves back to their house, instead of putting up a fight or protesting like she had prior, she instead timidly asks,
Do you really think that's a good idea?
Skyler is starting to realize that she is all out of options and that the instability that Walt causes is not containable. She has a deep understanding that things are not right and that the only option for her is to emotionally shut down once again, soon going to a new level with her disconnectedness. Then in the 4th episode of Season 5, we see one of the most illustrative examples of the ways that lack of predictability in Skyler's life becomes coupled with her emotional distancing. Skyler has come home to finding 2 sports cars in her driveway and Walt and Flynn arguing about whose car is faster as she enters the kitchen. But Skyler doesn't show any emotional expression or reaction to their back and forth, sitting there with a blank face much of the time. In the following scene, we see her flossing her teeth and wrapping the floss very tightly around her finger. She's engaging in what can be looked at as a type of self-harming behavior. These acts often take place when people are cut off from deeper emotions and therefore require self-induced pain as a way to feel something. Then when they are having dinner with Hank and Marie in the backyard, Walt is talking about his cancer prognosis being given a year ago and how great things have turned out. But Skyler is tuning it all out, unable to listen to Walt's lies any longer, another aspect of life which she has no degree of control over. She is gazing at the pool as if her mind is just wanting to go blank and avoid all the problems that life is presenting. Skyler is not willing to listen to Walt any longer. She is just needing to get away from it all. So she slowly walks into the pool as the others watch in disbelief. Under the water, she is in a place where she can't see or hear anyone, where it is just her in a perfectly controlled environment, where everything seems okay for the moment. Later that night, she gets into an argument with Walt, asking to have the children removed from the home. But every time she presents an option to take them away, Walt comes up with a solid rebuttal regarding his ability to ruin her plans. There is no way for Skyler to win here, as she is centrally focused on safety and stability for her and the children, while Walt is only thinking about himself. She soon admits to her hopelessness by saying,
"All I can do is wait. That's it. That's the only good option. Hold on. Bide my time. And wait."
Skyler is later seen smoking inside the house again, giving the impression of a prison inmate who is sitting out her sentence. She is preparing to shut down again, a way for her to control life in any way possible, this time by chain smoking and waiting patiently for something to happen to Walt. Then in one of the final episodes of the series, Skyler finally comes to a breaking point in her life in which emotional distancing can no longer serve its purpose. Throughout the series, Skyler has been primarily trying to protect her children, not only in terms of physical safety, but also by guarding Flynn from the reality of Walt's life. But in order for her to reconcile with Marie, she is forced to finally come clean to Flynn about past events. Before and during this conversation, we see the intense outpouring of affect coming from Skyler, something we had not seen for the entire series. The one thing that could absolutely not happen is now occurring, as she needs to come clean to Flynn and expose him to the horrible truth of their family life. In the following scene, Skyler comes home with Flynn while Walt is packing up the car and attempting to take them out of town. Once again, Walt is only thinking about himself and is ignoring all questions posed by Skyler and Flynn. But as Skyler has already revealed the truth to Flynn, there is nothing in her life that she needs to control any longer, as her entire life is chaos and anarchy. This complete loss of control also makes it so that she no longer has to inhibit dangerous emotions that had long been bottled up. Skyler proceeds to attack Walt with a kitchen knife and unleash all the rage and resentment that had been built up since season 1. Walt eventually leaves the home and their family for good. And although Skyler is forced to endure more hardships after Walt's disappearance, she is also given the opportunity to rebuild her life with her children and establish a sense of order and normalcy that had been missing in Skyler's life for so long. This concludes this episode on the psychology of Breaking Bad. Please watch my other videos on other TV and film characters if you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching.